The information provided in this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute professional marketing, legal, financial, or business advice. Social media algorithms, platform terms of service, and software pricing are subject to rapid change. Any specific results mentioned are based on historical trends and individual case studies, which do not reflect every user's experience. There are no certainties in digital marketing. Success depends on various factors including content quality, audience engagement, and market conditions. Viewers are strongly encouraged to conduct their own due diligence and consult with a qualified professional before making significant investments in software or marketing strategies. In the next 10 minutes, everything you think you know about social media management is going to feel like a relic from a bygone era. As of March 2026, the digital landscape for United States small businesses has hit a catastrophic tipping point. We are currently witnessing what analysts are calling the great content saturation. Recent data indicates that over 70% of small businesses across the country are currently losing upwards of 15 hours every single week on manual content distribution that results in exactly zero meaningful conversions. If you are still logging into 5 different apps to post the same video, you aren't just behind the curve. You are effectively invisible to the modern American consumer. The algorithm shifts of early 2026 have rendered the old post and pray method completely obsolete. We have entered an era where AI-driven content surges have flooded every feed, making it nearly impossible for a local boutique in Austin or a service-based startup in Chicago to break through the noise without a sophisticated, high-leverage technical stack. You are currently competing against billion-dollar corporations that are using predictive behavioral modeling to steal your customers' attention before you even wake up. The stakes have never been higher. If you fail to optimize your workflow this year, the sheer volume of the competition will drown your brand out of existence. This is no longer about just being online. It is about surviving an ecosystem that is designed to ignore the unoptimized. This video is the definitive masterclass on the 5 social media management tools that are actually moving the needle for US small businesses in 2026. This isn't a superficial list of apps you've already heard of. We are going deep into the specific integrations, the predictive analytics capabilities, and the automated engagement workflows that are separating the market leaders from the businesses that will be shuttered by 2027. We are solving the most painful problem facing the American entrepreneur today: the paradox of needing to be everywhere at once while having less time than ever before. We are going to look at how these tools solve the attribution crisis, the frustrating inability to tell exactly which post led to which dollar in your bank account. We will explore the shift from simple scheduling to what we call algorithmic harmony, where your software doesn't just post for you, but actually tells you what to create based on real-time shifts in US consumer sentiment. To understand why these 5 specific tools are the only ones worth your investment this year, we first have to look at the historical trends that led us to this crisis. Between 2022 and 2025, the barrier to entry for content creation plummeted. With the advent of hyper-realistic generative AI, the volume of content uploaded to platforms like TikTok, Meta, and the decentralized social hubs has increased by 400%. For a small business owner, this means your high-quality, handcrafted post is being buried under a mountain of machine-generated noise. The tools we are discussing today were selected because they offer specific features designed to combat this exact problem. They aren't just repositories for your images. They are sophisticated command centers. Take, for example, the concept of cross-platform resonance. In the past, you could simply re-upload a reel to YouTube Shorts and call it a day. In 2026, the platforms have developed sophisticated detection systems that deprioritize non-native content. The tools we will cover today utilize advanced API hooks to ensure that every piece of content is automatically formatted, tagged, and optimized for the specific metadata requirements of each individual platform, virtually eliminating the penalty for cross-posting. We also need to address the changing demographic of the US consumer. We are seeing a massive shift toward hyperlocalization. A business in Miami has vastly different peak engagement windows than a business in Seattle, not just because of time zones, but because of regional cultural rhythms. The legacy tools of the past decade used broad, national averages for their best time to post features. The 2026 toolkit uses localized heat maps. We will dive into how these tools analyze the specific behavior of your local followers to ensure your content hits their feed exactly when they are most likely to convert. The problem this video solves for you today is the transition from a content creator to a content strategist. Most small business owners in the US are trapped in the content treadmill. They are exhausted, burnt out, and seeing diminishing returns. This masterclass is designed to give you back your time while increasing your impact. We are going to look at case studies where businesses reduce their social media management time by 60% while seeing a measured increase in lead generation. This isn't about working harder. It's about deploying the right architecture. We will be looking at step-by-step details on how to set up automated response trees. One of the biggest killers of conversion in 2026 is the response gap. The modern consumer expects a response to a social media inquiry in under 5 minutes. For a small team, this is a physical impossibility unless you have the right tool. We will break down which platforms offer the most seamless integration between social DMs and your existing CRM, ensuring that a simple question on an Instagram story becomes a tracked lead in your sales pipeline without you ever having to lift a finger. Furthermore, we are going to tackle the financial aspect of these tools. We understand that as a small business, every dollar of your overhead must be justified. We are going to perform a rigorous cost-benefit analysis on each tool, looking at the potential outcomes of a per-tier subscription versus the hidden costs of using free, underpowered alternatives. We will look at how the right tool can actually replace the need for a part-time social media manager, potentially saving a small business tens of thousands of dollars in annual labor costs. This part of the script is about setting the foundation for your 2026 strategy. If you don't understand the gravity of the current shift in social media, no tool in the world will save you. But if you recognize that the environment has changed and you are willing to adapt your technical infrastructure, you have a massive opportunity. Because while 70% of your competitors are still struggling with manual posting and outdated strategies, the 30% who adopt these high-leverage tools are going to capture the lion's share of the market. This video is your roadmap to being in that top 30%. We are going to move through the top 5 tools with a level of granular detail you won't find anywhere else, covering everything from initial API integration to advanced data visualization. Prepare to rethink your entire approach to the digital world. We begin our deep dive with the powerhouse that has redefined the landscape for established small businesses across the United States in 2026, Sprout Social. This is not the platform you remember from 5 years ago. It has evolved into a comprehensive business intelligence engine that treats social media as a primary data source for every department in your company. Imagine Sarah, who owns a specialized pet grooming and holistic wellness boutique in Denver, Colorado. In 2024, Sarah was spending 3 hours a day manually checking her mentions and trying to guess which hashtags would work for her specific local audience. By the time 2026 rolled around, Sarah integrated the Sprout Social Global Intelligence module. The first thing you need to understand about using Sprout in 2026 is the sheer depth of its listening nodes. For a U.S. small business, local competition is fierce. You are not just competing with other local shops. You are competing with national franchises that have massive budgets. To set this up properly, you go into the Listening tab and create what is known as a geofence sentiment query. This allows Sarah to track every time someone within a 25-mile radius of her Denver shop mentions words like pet anxiety, organic dog treats, or even the names of her top 3 local competitors. In 2026, the potential outcomes of this strategy are transformative. Historical trends show that businesses using localized sentiment analysis see a 34% higher engagement rate because their content is answering a localized need in real time. For example, when a sudden late-season heat wave was forecasted for the Mile High City, Sarah's listening node picked up a spike in local conversations about pet dehydration and cooling mats. Before the big box retailers could even update their social headers, Sarah had used Sprout's predictive content bridge to push out an educational series on pet safety during heat waves. Let's get into the step-by-step details of the Sprout Social 2026 workflow for your business. Step 1 is the API Unified Onboarding. Unlike the clunky integrations of the past, Sprout now uses a biometric-secured handshake with Meta, TikTok, and the newest decentralized platforms. Once your accounts are linked, you must configure the AI Priority Inbox. This is where most businesses fail. They treat every notification with the same level of urgency. In 2026, the Smart Inbox uses NLP, natural language processing, to categorize incoming messages by intent. If a customer sends a DM asking about pricing, the system flags it as high conversion intent and places it at the top of the queue. If someone just sends a heart emoji on a post, the system automatically tags it as engagement only and can even be set to deploy a personalized, brand voice consistent AI response that doesn't feel like a bot. Consider a case study from a small manufacturing firm in Ohio. They were struggling to manage an influx of customer service inquiries across 5 different platforms. By implementing the Sprout Social Automated Response Tree, they were able to categorize 80% of their inquiries without human intervention. Historical trends from this specific firm showed that by reducing their response time from 6 hours to under 90 seconds, their customer retention rate increased by nearly 20% over a 12-month period. This is the power of high-level infrastructure. Now, we have to talk about the 2026 Creative Cloud integration. Sprout has moved beyond simple image uploads. In the current year, your Sprout dashboard connects directly to your generative design tools. When you are drafting a post, the Sprout suggestion engine analyzes your historical performance data and actually recommends changes to your visual assets. If your data shows that your audience in the Pacific Northwest responds better to muted, earth-toned imagery during the rainy season, the software will highlight this trend and suggest a filter or color palette adjustment before you hit schedule. The scheduling tool itself has moved into the realm of algorithmic synchronization. In 2026, we no longer post at 9 a.m. just because it's a standard time. Sprout's viral velocity algorithm calculates the exact millisecond your specific audience segments are most active. For a business like Dave's artisanal furniture shop in North Carolina, this means the software might stagger his posts so his East Coast followers see his craftsmanship videos at their peak lunch hour, while his West Coast potential buyers see them just as they are finishing their morning coffee. But the real magic happens in the Advanced Data Visualization Suite. Most small business owners look at their likes and feel good. But likes don't pay the rent in 2026. You need to look at the attribution heat map. This feature allows you to track a customer's journey from the first time they saw your TikTok video to the moment they clicked the link in your bio, signed up for your newsletter, and finally made a purchase on your website 3 weeks later. Step by step, you set this up by installing the Sprout Pixel on your checkout page and linking it to your social profiles. This creates a closed-loop reporting system. You can finally see that the series of behind-the-scenes videos you posted in February actually generated $4,000 in sales by April. This removes the guesswork and allows you to double down on what is actually working. Historical trends indicate that U.S. small businesses often overspend on platforms that don't reach their target demographic. Sprout's 2026 Demographic Shift Report helps prevent this. It identifies when your audience is migrating. If your core customer base is moving from legacy platforms to newer, niche community-based apps, Sprout alerts you months in advance, allowing you to pivot your content strategy before your engagement drops off a cliff. Imagine if you could see exactly what your competitors were spending on their social ads and which specific creative assets were giving them the best ROI. While we don't have access to their private bank accounts, Sprout's competitive benchmarking tool in 2026 uses public metadata to give you a strikingly accurate estimate of their performance. You can see their average response time, their post frequency, and their most successful content pillars. This isn't about copying them. It's about finding the gaps they are leaving behind. If your biggest competitor is ignoring their comments section, that is your opportunity to sweep in and provide the superior customer service that defines the American small business spirit. As we move through 2026, the complexity of these platforms only increases. Sprout Social manages this complexity by offering a team collaboration hub that is unparalleled. For businesses with even 1 or 2 employees, you can set up approval workflows. This means your intern can draft the content, but it won't go live until it has been reviewed by you or your manager, ensuring that your brand voice remains consistent and professional at all times. You can leave internal notes on specific posts, tag team members for follow-up on DMs, and track the productivity of your social media team with granular detail. But as powerful as Sprout Social is, it isn't the only way to dominate the digital landscape this year. While Sprout focuses on the enterprise-level data for small businesses, there is another tool that has completely revolutionized the way we handle short-form video content, the single most important medium of 2026. Many businesses are failing because they are trying to apply old-school management techniques to a new-school video world. If you think posting a video and hoping for the best is enough, you are in for a very expensive wake-up call. There is a hidden phenomenon known as ghost posting that is currently killing the reach of thousands of U.S. businesses, and most of them don't even know it's happening. In the next part, we are going to look at the tool that was built specifically to solve the video crisis and how you can use it to ensure your brand never goes haunted. To understand why your videos might be suffering from ghost posting, you have to look at how the central algorithms of 2026 have evolved. Platforms like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram Reels no longer just look at your content. They look at the technical handshake between your management tool and their servers. If you are using an outdated scheduler that simply pushes a file through a generic gateway, the platform flags that content as non-native. In the eyes of the algorithm, this is low-effort distribution, and your reach is throttled before you even get your first view. This is where Metrical has positioned itself as the essential survival tool for the U.S. small business owner in 2026. Metrical didn't just add video features. They rebuilt their entire architecture around the native injection engine. Imagine Marcus, who runs a high-end sustainable sneaker brand out of a warehouse in Atlanta, Georgia. In early 2026, Marcus was producing world-class short-form content. He had the lighting, the storytelling, and the product. But every time he posted through his old management software, his views would flatline at exactly 200. He was a victim of ghost posting. The platform's AI could tell the video wasn't uploaded through its native interface, and because the metadata was stripped during the scheduling process, the search engines within the apps couldn't categorize his sneakers. Marcus was essentially shouting into a vacuum. The solution came when Marcus moved his entire operation to Metrical's 2026 Video Command Center. The first step-by-step detail you need to master within this tool is the API metadata preservation sequence. When you upload a video to Metrical in 2026, the software doesn't just hold the file. It analyzes the bitrate, the frame rate, and the color profile to ensure it matches the specific requirements of the target platform's 2026 standards. If Marcus is posting to TikTok, Metrical automatically adjusts the container of the video to ensure the TikTok server identifies it as native content. Historical trends show that videos uploaded with preserved native metadata see an average reach increase of 112% compared to those that are processed through standard cloud re-encoding. Once you have your technical handshake secured, you have to tackle the second biggest killer of small business growth: the hook failure. In 2026, you have exactly 1.2 seconds to capture a viewer's attention before they swipe. Metrical's Viral Velocity Simulator is a game changer here. Before you ever hit schedule, you run your video through the simulator. This tool uses a massive database of successful 2026 US-based content to predict where your viewers will drop off. For Marcus, the simulator flagged that his intro, a slow pan of the shoe, was too slow for the current fast-paced Atlanta fashion demographic. It suggested moving the shot of the shoe being dropped from a height to the very first frame. By following these step-by-step data-backed suggestions, Marcus saw his retention rate jump from 15% to nearly 50% in a single month. The third pillar of the Metrical 2026 strategy is the audio trend forecaster. We've all seen businesses jump on a trend when it's already dead. In 2026, a trend lasts about 48 hours. If you're late, you look out of touch. Metrical's engine scans the top-performing audio tracks across the United States in real time, and more importantly, uses predictive modeling to tell you what will be trending 3 days from now. Imagine if you could film your content on a Monday with the song that is going to be #1 on Friday. This allows a small business owner like Marcus to stay ahead of the curve without spending all day scrolling. Let's look at the implementation of the SEO video description generator. In 2026, social media search has largely replaced traditional search engines for the under 40 demographic in the US. If someone in Atlanta searches for sustainable footwear, Marcus needs his video to be the first result. Metrical's AI doesn't just write a caption. It performs a real-time keyword gap analysis. It looks at what people are searching for on that specific day and injects those terms naturally into the description and the hidden alt text of the video. To set this up, you go to the Optimization tab within the Metrical Post Creator. You input your core topic, in this case sustainable sneakers, and the tool provides a list of high-velocity keywords. Step by step, you select the ones that most accurately reflect your video, and the AI weaves them into a narrative that appeals to both the human viewer and the algorithmic crawler. Case studies from early 2026 indicate that businesses utilizing hyper-localized SEO within their video descriptions see a 60% increase in discovery-based traffic. Now, imagine if you could manage the engagement of these videos without losing your mind. The biggest mistake small businesses make is the post and forget. In 2026, the first 60 minutes after a video goes live are critical. This is known as the engagement loop. If you don't respond to comments in that first hour, the platform assumes your content isn't generating conversation and stops pushing it to new feeds. Metrical solves this with the mobile engagement pulse. When Marcus's video goes live, he receives a specific, high-priority notification on his phone. This isn't just a generic alert. It's a dedicated interface that allows him to blast through the first 20 comments with personalized, non-bot responses in under 3 minutes. We also need to discuss the 2026 competitor video shadowing feature. You can't operate in a vacuum. Metrical allows you to select 5 direct competitors in the US market and provides you with a weekly breakdown of their video performance. You aren't just seeing their views, you are seeing their most successful hooks, their average video length, and the specific times of day they are seeing the most engagement. Marcus used this to realize that while he was posting at 6 p.m., his most successful competitor was posting at 11:30 a.m. to catch the lunch break scrollers. He adjusted his schedule within Metrical, and his midday engagement skyrocketed. Historical trends in the U.S. small business sector show that the move toward video-first marketing is not a temporary phase. It is the new permanent reality. If your management tool isn't treating video as a specialized science, you are wasting your marketing budget. Metrical's 2026 suite includes an advanced attribution dashboard specifically for video. This allows you to see the potential outcomes of your video strategy in hard dollars. For Marcus, he was able to track a single TikTok video through to 300 direct sales by using the Metrical link in bio integration, which tracks every click with surgical precision. The depth of data available here is staggering. You can see which specific seconds of your video led to the most profile clicks. This allows you to refine your future content. If you see that every time you show a close-up of the recycled materials in your sneakers, your click-through rate spikes, you know exactly what to film more of next week. This is how you move from guessing to winning. But even with the best video strategy in the world, there is a looming threat that many small businesses are completely ignoring. It's a shift in how the US public perceives brand authenticity. As we move deeper into 2026, the polished, overproduced look is actually starting to drive customers away. There is a third tool on our list that was designed specifically to bridge the gap between high-level management and raw, authentic connection. It is the secret weapon for businesses that want to build a community that doesn't just follow them, but actually defends them. If you've ever felt like your brand is too corporate or too distant, the next tool we are about to discuss is going to change the way you communicate forever, and the way it handles community-led growth is something you've never seen before. The tool that has become the definitive backbone for authentic community-led growth in 2026 is Buffer. While other platforms move toward high-end enterprise data, Buffer doubled down on what they call the human-to-human handshake. In a year where AI-generated content has become so prevalent that users are developing a subconscious filter against anything that looks too polished, the US small business owner needs a way to signal that there is a real person behind the screen. This is where Buffer's 2026 Organic Reach Multiplier comes into play. It is designed specifically for the entrepreneur who doesn't have a massive marketing team, but needs their voice to resonate across the decentralized social web. Consider the scenario of Jackson, a furniture restorer based in Portland, Oregon. In early 2026, Jackson found himself struggling with the paradox of modern social media. The more he tried to use high-end cinematic transitions and perfect lighting, the more his engagement dropped. His audience in the Pacific Northwest was craving transparency and the raw process of his craft. They didn't want a commercial, they wanted a workshop tour. When Jackson switched to the Buffer 2026 suite, he stopped focusing on the broadcast and started focusing on the conversation. The first step-by-step detail of the Buffer 2026 workflow is the implementation of the raw content bridge. Unlike other tools that prioritize high-resolution file processing, Buffer has optimized its mobile-to-web pipeline to preserve the metadata of authentic, unedited mobile footage. When Jackson records a quick update from his workshop on his phone, he uses the Buffer mobile app to send it directly to his draft queue. The tool doesn't try to upscale it or add artificial sharpness. It keeps the native textures and lighting that signal to a viewer's brain that this is real-time, human-made content. Historical trends in 2026 indicate that content labeled as unedited or shot on mobile sees a 45% higher trust rating among US consumers aged 25 to 45. Next, you must master the Buffer Community Pulse interface. In 2026, social media is no longer just about the big three platforms. We are seeing a massive migration toward niche, interest-based communities and decentralized protocols like Blue Sky and the Fediverse. Buffer has positioned itself as the primary gateway to these spaces. For a business like Jackson's Woodworking, Being able to engage with a community of 500 dedicated furniture enthusiasts on a decentralized server is more valuable than having 10,000 passive followers on a legacy app. The Community Pulse allows you to aggregate conversations from these niche hubs into a single manageable stream. Let's look at a specific case study of a boutique skincare brand in Vermont. They were struggling to maintain a presence across 7 different emerging social platforms. By using the Buffer 2026 multi-channel sync, they were able to tailor their message for each community without duplicating their workload. They used a professional, informative tone on their main business profile, while simultaneously running a more experimental behind-the-scenes narrative on their community-led channels. Potential outcomes for this strategy include a deeper level of brand loyalty that transcends platform loyalty. When one social network changes its algorithm, the Vermont brand's community follows them elsewhere because the relationship is built on the brand's voice, not the platform's feed. Imagine if you could manage a community of 50,000 people with the same level of intimacy you had when you only had 50 followers. This is the goal of the Buffer 2026 Intimacy Scale Engine. One of the most powerful features to set up is the recurring interaction loop. Step by step, you identify your top 50 most engaged followers, your brand advocates. Buffer's engine then schedules regular check-ins for you. It might be a simple task like responding to their latest story, or sending a personalized thank you for their continued support. These aren't automated bots. Buffer provides you with the context and the prompt, but you provide the actual human touch. Historical trends suggest that businesses that prioritize these micro-interactions see a 3 times higher word-of-mouth referral rate. Another critical component of the 2026 Buffer strategy is the remix and redistribute workflow. In 2026, the U.S. audience consumes information in fragments. A long-form blog post about sustainable wood sourcing might not get read, but that same content broken down into 10 bite-sized insights across 5 platforms will. Buffer's 2026 AI-assisted remix tool takes your core piece of content and intelligently suggests how to break it down. For Jackson, a 10-minute video on restoring a 1920s oak desk is automatically analyzed, and Buffer suggests 5 specific points that would make excellent standalone threads or short updates. You then go in, approve the suggestions, and the tool handles the cross-platform optimization. We must also discuss the 2026 Transparency Dashboard. American consumers in 2026 are highly sensitive to data privacy and corporate transparency. Buffer has introduced a feature that allows small businesses to publicly share their social media impact and goals if they choose to. This might sound counterintuitive, but for a brand built on authenticity, showing your community that you are a small business trying to grow can actually lead to higher engagement. Jackson used this to show his followers how their engagement was helping him fund a new apprenticeship program in Portland. This converted his followers into stakeholders in his business's success. The financial potential of using a tool like Buffer in 2026 lies in its efficiency for the solo operator or the micro team. It doesn't require a dedicated data analyst to understand. The 2026 analytics are presented as narrative reports. Instead of showing you a complex spreadsheet of numbers, Buffer tells you a story. Last week, your workshop tours performed better on Tuesdays because people in your time zone were looking for a midweek distraction. Your followers in California are interested in your use of reclaimed cedar, while your followers in New York are more focused on your finished walnut pieces. This allows you to make informed decisions without getting bogged down in the minutiae of data science. Step by step, to maximize your 2026 Buffer experience, you should first set up your brand voice persona. This is a 2026 feature where you upload samples of your writing and videos, and the tool creates a profile that ensures all your captions and responses across every platform maintain a consistent tone. For Jackson, this meant ensuring that even when he was tired at the end of a long day of sanding and staining, his social media responses still sounded like the friendly, knowledgeable craftsman his audience loved. Historical trends in the U.S. market show that as we move through 2026, the cost of customer acquisition on traditional ad platforms is reaching an all-time high. This makes organic, community-led growth through tools like Buffer not just a preference, but a financial necessity for small businesses. By building a moat of loyal, engaged followers who feel a personal connection to your brand, you are protecting your business from the volatility of the ad market. But even with a perfect community strategy and authentic content, there is one technical hurdle that can stop your growth in its tracks. As we look at the broader U.S. economic landscape in 2026, the way small businesses handle their digital storefronts is changing. There is a massive shift toward what we call social commerce 3.0. This is where your social media management tool doesn't just talk to your followers. It actually manages your inventory, your sales, and your customer service in a single unified loop. Many businesses are losing thousands of dollars every month because their social media is disconnected from their sales data. In the next part, we are going to look at the tool that has become the gold standard for bridging the gap between social engagement and hard revenue, and why failing to integrate this could be the single biggest mistake you make this year. It involves a technology called real-time inventory mapping that is about to change everything you know about selling online. We are stepping into the era of the storefront-less business, where your social media profile isn't just a gallery, but the actual point of sale. The fourth tool on our 2026 list is Later, but not the version of Later you used for simple aesthetic grid planning in years past. In 2026, Later has pivoted into the definitive social commerce 3.0 command center. For a United States small business, the barrier between discovery and purchase has effectively disappeared. This is where the technology of real-time inventory mapping becomes your most critical asset. To understand the gravity of this, imagine Elena, a jewelry designer operating out of a studio in Brooklyn. Elena doesn't have a traditional retail space, and she doesn't have a massive team to monitor her stock levels 24 hours a day. In the old world of 2024, Elena would post a video of a new necklace, it would go viral, and within 2 hours she would have 1,000 angry comments because the link in her bio led to a sold-out page. She was losing thousands of dollars in potential revenue every single month because her social media management tool was disconnected from her actual inventory. In 2026, Later solves this with the Commerce Cloud integration. When Elena uploads a piece of content to Later, she doesn't just add a caption. She performs what is known as an inventory handshake. By connecting her Shopify or BigCommerce backend directly into the Later 2026 interface, the software creates a live, two-way data stream. This is the step-by-step detail of how you set this up in the current year. First, you navigate to the Later Commerce Hub and initiate the API sync with your digital storefront. This allows Later to see every SKU stock-keeping unit in your warehouse in real time. Next, you activate the Predictive Stock Shield. This is a 2026 feature that uses historical trends to analyze your typical viral velocity. If the software detects that a post is gaining traction faster than usual, it automatically reserves a portion of your inventory specifically for the traffic coming from that social channel. But the real breakthrough is the real-time inventory mapping. As Elena's followers in New York or Los Angeles see her shoppable video on TikTok or Instagram, the price and availability tags they see are updated every 60 seconds. If Elena only has 5 units of a specific ring left, the tag on the video changes from shop now to only 5 left. If it sells out, the tag instantly switches to join the waitlist or pre-order. The potential outcomes of this automation are staggering. Case studies from early 2026 show that small businesses utilizing real-time inventory sync see a 48% reduction in cart abandonment. Why? Because the modern American consumer in 2026 has zero patience for friction. If they see a product they like, they want to know it is available before they even click. Later's 2026 suite takes this a step further with the one-click native checkout. Instead of sending the user to an external website, which is where most drop-offs occur, Later facilitates the transaction directly within the social app's interface using secure, encrypted payment tokens. Elena's customers never have to leave the app to buy her jewelry. This is Social Commerce 3.0, the complete collapse of the traditional sales funnel into a single high-intensity moment of conversion. Let's look at the financial depth of this strategy. Historical trends indicated that every extra click added to a checkout process reduced the conversion rate by roughly 10%. In the competitive US landscape of 2026, you cannot afford to lose 30 or 40% of your leads just because your website takes 3 seconds to load. By using Later as your commerce bridge, you are essentially leveraging the massive, high-speed infrastructure of the social platforms themselves to handle your sales. Imagine if you could also manage your affiliate and creator partnerships from the same dashboard where you schedule your posts. In 2026, small businesses in the US are increasingly relying on micro-influencers to drive sales. Later has integrated a creator attribution engine into its core platform. Step by step, Elena can identify which of her followers have the highest engagement rates and invite them to become brand partners directly through the Later app. She can send them unique, shoppable links that are tied to her real-time inventory. When a creator in Austin posts a video wearing Elena's jewelry, the sales are tracked with surgical precision. Elena can see not just how many people clicked, but exactly how much revenue that specific creator generated in real time. This eliminates the headache of manual commission tracking and allows Elena to scale her business through a network of authentic advocates. We also have to discuss the 2026 visual search optimization feature. In the current year, US consumers are using visual search more than ever. They take a screenshot of something they like and ask an AI assistant to find it. Later's 2026 engine automatically generates visual metadata for every image and video you upload. This means that if someone sees a necklace similar to Elena's in a magazine and performs a visual search, her social media posts are indexed and presented as a buying option. You set this up by enabling the visual SEO toggle in the Later Media Library. The tool then uses computer vision to identify the materials, colors, and styles in your products and tags them with the keywords that the 2026 search algorithms are looking for. Now, consider the power of the 2026 Later dynamic pricing integration. For a small business, margins are everything. In 2026, the US market is highly volatile, with shipping costs and material prices fluctuating weekly. Later allows you to set up pricing rules that sync with your social posts. If Elena's silver costs go up, she updates the price in her backend, and every shoppable tag across all her social channels updates instantly. There is no more manual editing of old posts or worrying about honoring an outdated price. This level of technical synchronization was once reserved for global corporations, but in 2026, it is the standard for any small business that wants to remain profitable. The depth of the Later 2026 masterclass doesn't end there. We have to look at the shoppable video carousel. This is a specific format designed for the American small business that has a deep catalog. Step by step, you select a series of related products, perhaps Elena's entire summer collection, and Later's AI drafts a video carousel that highlights the best features of each item. This isn't just a slideshow. It's an interactive experience where viewers can swipe through different products, see them from different angles, and check out without ever stopping the video. Historical trends show that interactive video carousels have a 60% higher click-through rate than static image posts in 2026. Imagine if you could also predict which products will be your top sellers before you even launch them. Later's 2026 Sentiment Lab analyzes the comments and engagement on your teaser posts to provide a demand forecast. For Elena, this meant she could see that her community was buzzing about her new emerald pieces far more than her gold pieces. Based on this data, she adjusted her production schedule 3 weeks before the launch, ensuring she had enough stock to meet the potential demand. This is how you use social media management to inform your actual business operations. But as we master the world of commerce and inventory, we have to address the final and perhaps most advanced frontier of social media in 2026. While commerce tools like Later handle the transactions, there is a new category of software that is handling the actual intelligence of your business. We are entering the world of autonomous agency. There is one tool left on our list that is so advanced it doesn't just help you manage your social media. It actually begins to think like a CMO. Many US small businesses are currently being outpaced by competitors who have deployed what we call AI agents, digital employees that can research, write, and engage at a scale no human can match. In the final part of our deep dive, we are going to look at the tool that has become the brain of the most successful small businesses in the country, and why 2026 is the year that the line between human management and machine intelligence finally disappears. If you think you've seen everything AI can do, you are not prepared for what this fifth tool is capable of. The fifth and final tool in our 2026 arsenal represents the absolute pinnacle of technological evolution for the American entrepreneur, the Hootsuite Social Agent OS. By the middle of 2026, the traditional social media dashboard has been replaced by what we now call the autonomous agency. This is not just a software update. It is a fundamental shift in how small businesses in the United States operate in the digital sphere. We are no longer talking about a tool that helps you manage your time. We are talking about a digital entity that acts as your chief marketing officer, your data analyst, and your customer service department simultaneously. To understand the depth of this shift, imagine Chloe, who owns a boutique real estate firm in Phoenix, Arizona. In 2026, the Phoenix housing market is undergoing a massive transformation due to new regional water conservation laws and a surge in sustainable building projects. Chloe is a solo operator with one part-time assistant. In 2024, she would have spent 40 hours a month just trying to keep up with the news and translate it into social content. In 2026, she uses the Hootsuite Social Agent. The core of this system is the knowledge graph integration. This is the first step-by-step detail you must master. Unlike old AI tools that simply scrape the internet for generic keywords, the 2026 social agent requires you to initialize a private knowledge graph. You upload your company's internal documents, your past successful sales scripts, your brand's ethical guidelines, and your specific local market data. For Chloe, this means feeding the agent every piece of local Phoenix zoning legislation from the last 6 months and her internal database of homebuyer preferences. Once this data is ingested, the agent doesn't just write posts. It understands the context of Chloe's specific business ecosystem. Historical trends from the early part of this year indicate that businesses utilizing private knowledge graphs see a 60% increase in content relevance scores. This is because the AI isn't hallucinating generic real estate advice. It is providing hyper-specific insights that are legally and factually grounded in Chloe's actual business environment. Step 2 in the process is setting the autonomous boundary. This is where you define how much freedom the agent has. In the Hootsuite 2026 interface, you can set the agent to research only, draft and suggest, or full autonomy. For a high-stakes industry like U.S. real estate, Chloe uses a hybrid model. The agent is authorized to autonomously engage in community discussions and answer basic factual questions about listings, but it must send a push notification to Chloe's device for any post regarding market predictions or legal advice. Now, consider the power of the 2026 synthetic persona testing. This is a feature that was once the exclusive domain of Fortune 500 companies. Before Chloe's social agent pushes a post live to her Phoenix audience, it runs that post through a simulation of 10,000 virtual personas that represent the specific demographic data of the Maricopa County area in 2026. The simulation predicts how a first-time homebuyer in their 30s will react versus a retiree looking to downsize. If the simulation predicts a low engagement rate or a negative sentiment shift, the agent automatically rewrites the content and retests it until it hits a preset success threshold. Potential outcomes for this strategy include a massive reduction in wasted ad spend and a near elimination of PR blunders. Let's dive into the 2026 real-time crisis guardrails. In the volatile social climate of the United States today, a single misunderstood post can lead to a brand-killing backlash in hours. The Hootsuite social agent operates a 24/7 sentiment watchdog. If the agent detects a sudden shift in the tone of comments on one of Chloe's posts, it doesn't just send an alert. It immediately triggers a pre-planned mitigation sequence. Step by step, the agent will pause all scheduled outgoing content to ensure no tone-deaf posts are released. It will draft a context-aware response for Chloe to review, and it will begin categorizing the negative comments to identify if they are coming from legitimate customers or coordinated bot attacks. Historical trends in 2026 show that businesses with automated crisis response systems recover their reputation 40% faster than those relying on manual intervention. We also have to discuss the 2026 multi-agent collaboration protocol. In a larger U.S. small business, you might have different agents for different tasks. You could have a content agent, a lead gen agent, and a customer support agent. These agents communicate with each other through an internal API. For example, if the customer support agent notices that 5 people in a row have asked about the solar readiness of a new housing development in Phoenix, it sends that data to the content agent. The content agent then immediately drafts an educational video script about solar integration in Arizona homes, which is then sent to Chloe for approval. This creates a closed-loop system where your social media is constantly and automatically responding to the actual needs of your market. Imagine if your social media management tool could also handle your local SEO and Google business profile updates with the same level of intelligence. In 2026, the Hootsuite social agent is fully integrated with US-specific local search algorithms. When Chloe's agency closes a major sale, the agent automatically prompts the client for a review via a personalized DM, analyzes the review for keywords that boost local ranking, and then updates Chloe's Google business profile with a post highlighting the success, all while ensuring the language remains compliant with the latest Fair Housing Act regulations of 2026. The financial depth of this tool is found in its labor replacement capability. For a U.S. small business, the cost of a full-time social media manager in 2026 can exceed $70,000 a year when you factor in benefits and overhead. The Social Agent OS allows a single owner-operator to maintain the digital footprint of a 20-person agency for a fraction of that cost. Case studies from the first quarter of 2026 show that early adopters in the service industry have seen their overhead for marketing decrease by 35%, while their lead volume increased by 50%. This is the power of high-leverage AI. However, Moving into this level of automation requires a strict adherence to the 2026 ethical compliance filter. As we conclude the deep dive into these 5 transformative tools, we have covered everything from high-level enterprise data with Sprout Social, to the video-first science of Metrical, the authentic community building of Buffer, the social commerce revolution of Later, and finally the autonomous intelligence of the Hootsuite social agent. But having the tools is only the beginning. In 2026, the most sophisticated software in the world will fail if it is deployed on a broken strategy. We are now moving into the most critical part of this masterclass. It is time to look at the invisible architecture that connects these tools. There is a concept emerging in the US business world called the algorithmic echo chamber, and if you don't know how to navigate it, you will find that your posts are only being seen by people who would never buy from you. In the next part, we are going to reveal the specific cross-platform strategy that takes these 5 tools and turns them into a unified, revenue-generating engine. We are going to look at the secret 2026 algorithm updates that nobody is talking about yet, and why your current posting schedule might actually be hurting your brand's authority. This is the transition from managing social media to owning your market. To understand how you transition from simply managing social media to truly owning your market in 2026, you must first confront the reality of the algorithmic echo chamber. In the current United States digital landscape, the algorithms have become so efficient at categorization that they often act as a double-edged sword for small businesses. While they are excellent at finding your core fans, they are increasingly prone to trapping your content within a narrow bubble of people who already know you or who are already saturated with similar content from your competitors. If you have noticed that your engagement is high but your new customer acquisition has plateaued, you are likely a victim of the chamber. Your content is being echoed back to the same 3,000 people over and over again. To break this cycle, you need a unified strategy that leverages the specific technical strengths of all 5 tools we've discussed, turning them into a single, high-output engine. Imagine Thomas, who operates a boutique coffee roasting facility in Seattle, Washington. In early 2026, Thomas was doing everything right by 2024 standards. He was posting 3 times a day using high-quality video and responding to every comment. However, his sales figures were stagnant. He was reaching other coffee roasters and extreme hobbyists, but he wasn't reaching the high-end homebrewers or the local restaurant owners who could actually scale his revenue. Thomas was caught in the echo chamber because the algorithms had tagged him as a niche enthusiast rather than a commercial solution. The first step-by-step detail of the 2026 unified strategy is the implementation of the authority bridge. This involves using the Hootsuite Social Agent OS not just for content creation, but for cross-platform sentiment parity. In 2026, the major social platforms use a hidden metric called the Brand Authenticity Index. If your tone of voice on LinkedIn, where you are trying to reach restaurant owners, doesn't align with your tone on TikTok, the algorithms flag your brand as inconsistent or potentially AI-generated without human oversight. This results in a massive penalty to your organic reach. Thomas solved this by using the Hootsuite Knowledge Graph to create a unified brand persona. He uploaded his business's mission statement, his roasting logs, and his wholesale pricing structures. The agent then ensured that every piece of content, regardless of the platform, maintained a consistent level of professional authority while remaining approachable. Once your brand voice is unified, you must move to Phase 2, the Search Intent Gap Analysis, handled by Metrical's 2026 Video Command Center. In the current year, social media search has fundamentally shifted from keyword-based to intent-based. This means the algorithm is no longer just looking for the word coffee, it is looking for the solution to a problem. For Thomas, Metrical's intent matrix revealed a massive surge in US-based searches for low-acid brewing techniques and sustainable bean sourcing in the Pacific Northwest. While his competitors were still posting lifestyle shots of latte art, Thomas used this data to pivot his video strategy. Step by step, he used Metrical to find the exact high-velocity keywords that his competitors were ignoring and injected them into the hidden metadata of his short-form videos. Historical trends in 2026 indicate that businesses that pivot toward utility-based SEO see a 75% higher discovery rate than those sticking to lifestyle-only content. Next, you have to tackle the conversion gap using Later's Social Commerce 3.0 suite. Many US small businesses make the mistake of driving all their traffic to a generic homepage. In 2026, that is a recipe for high bounce rates. Imagine if every time Thomas posted a video about his new Ethiopian roast, the viewer could not only buy that specific roast, but also see the live inventory levels of his Seattle warehouse. By using the real-time inventory mapping feature and later, Thomas was able to create a sense of legitimate scarcity. When his stock dropped below 50 bags, the shoppable tag on his Instagram reel and TikTok video automatically updated to show low stock. This isn't a marketing trick. It is a real-time data transparency feature that US consumers in 2026 have come to expect. Case studies from the first quarter of 2026 show that real-time inventory transparency leads to a 22% increase in immediate conversion for artisanal products. But how do you ensure that this traffic keeps coming back without having to pay for ads? This is Phase 3, the decentralized trust loop, managed through Buffer. In 2026, we are seeing a significant portion of the US audience move toward decentralized social protocols and niche community hubs. These are spaces where traditional advertising is often blocked or heavily frowned upon. Thomas used Buffer to schedule authentic, long-form updates to these smaller, high-intent communities. Instead of a sales pitch, he shared the raw data of his roasting process and invited community feedback on his next seasonal blend. By building this mode of loyal advocates in spaces where his competitors weren't even looking, he protected his brand from the volatility of the main platform algorithms. If a major platform changed its feed structure tomorrow, Thomas's core community in the decentralized hubs would remain untouched. Finally, we have the attribution and scaling phase with Sprout Social. This is where you turn your social media from a cost center into a predictable revenue generator. In 2026, you cannot rely on the basic analytics provided by the apps themselves. You need Sprout's sentiment heat map. Thomas used this to discover that a massive portion of his engagement was actually coming from the Northeast United States, specifically Boston and New York, despite him being a Seattle-based brand. Step by step, he used this data to adjust his logistics and shipping policies, offering regional shipping discounts to the East Coast. He then used Sprout's paid organic synergy tool to put a small targeted ad spend behind his most successful organic posts in those specific regions. Potential outcomes of this data-driven scaling include a 50% reduction in customer acquisition costs, because you are only putting money behind content that has already proven its value in the organic market. The historical trends of 2026 are clear. The era of the isolated social media post is over. You are now building a technical ecosystem. If your inventory isn't talking to your content, and your content isn't talking to your market research, you are leaving money on the table. This is the transition from a business that uses social media to a social-first business. We are looking at a future where your digital presence is the primary driver of every other aspect of your company, from product development to logistics. Imagine if you could automate this entire loop. Imagine if your inventory levels in later could automatically trigger a new video request in Metrical, which then prompts your Hootsuite social agent to draft a script based on current trending search intent in your local US market. We are closer to this reality than you think. But as we embrace this level of automation, we have to talk about the dangers. There is a dark side to the 2026 AI revolution that is starting to cause massive problems for US small businesses. We are seeing a rise in what is called algorithmic decay, where over-automated accounts are being permanently shadow banned for losing their human signature. In the next part, we are going to look at the 3 critical signs that your automation is starting to kill your brand, and the human-in-the-loop strategies you must implement today to ensure your account stays in the algorithm's good graces. We are going to dive into the specific compliance rules that are currently being drafted in the US that could change how you use these tools forever. The phenomenon of algorithmic decay is the silent killer of the American small business in 2026. As we have moved into this hyper-automated era, the major social platforms have deployed what are known as human signature detectors. These are highly sophisticated machine learning models that look for the biological variance in content. When you rely 100% on an AI agent to write your captions, schedule your posts, and reply to your comments, you create a pattern of perfect consistency. In nature and in human communication, perfect consistency does not exist. The algorithms in 2026 have been trained to recognize this lack of variance as a sign of a bot-operated account. When this happens, your reach isn't just throttled. Your account enters a state of digital purgatory where you are shown only to other automated accounts, effectively removing you from the real human marketplace. To understand how to prevent this, let's look at the story of Robert, who runs a multi-state HVAC and home services company based out of Austin, Texas. In early 2026, Robert implemented a full autonomy strategy using a high-end AI social agent. For the first 3 weeks, his metrics were incredible. His posting frequency tripled and his initial engagement was high. But by week 4, His conversion rate from social media dropped to nearly zero. He was a victim of the first sign of algorithmic decay, the synthetic engagement trap. The platforms had identified that his account was only interacting with other automated profiles that were part of a similar AI-driven network. Robert was essentially shouting into a room full of robots while his actual customers in Austin were never seeing his updates. The second sign of decay you must watch for is metadata over-optimization. In the 2026 landscape, if every single one of your posts has the perfect number of keywords, the perfect character count, and the exact same technical structure, it triggers a red flag. Real humans make mistakes. They use slang that isn't yet in the database. They vary their sentence lengths based on their mood. If your management tool like Metricool or Hootsuite is set to maximum optimization without human oversight, you are inadvertently signaling to the platform that there is no soul behind the brand. Historical trends show that accounts with a 10% variance in their technical optimization, meaning they are occasionally imperfect, have a 25% higher long-term retention rate in the primary feed. The third sign is what we call the sentiment disconnect. This happens when your AI responses are too helpful or too polite. In the high-stakes world of US consumer relations, real people occasionally get frustrated, use humor, or show genuine empathy that goes beyond a standard customer service script. If a customer in Dallas leaves a comment about their air conditioning breaking during a 100-degree heat wave, and your bot responds with a perfectly formatted, neutral acknowledgement of their inconvenience, you have failed the Turing test of social media. The customer feels ignored, and the algorithm notes the lack of genuine emotional resonance in the interaction. To combat this, you must implement the 2026 Human in the Loop, or HITL strategy. This is not about doing everything manually, it is about strategic intervention. Step by step, you should set your Hootsuite social agent to a 70-30 ratio. 70% of your basic informational content and scheduling can be handled by the machine, but 30% must have a mandatory human review and edit. This is where Robert saved his business. He started spending 30 minutes every morning reviewing the drafts generated by his tools. He would inject local references, perhaps mentioning the traffic on I-35 or a local high school football score. These tiny pieces of localized biological data acted as an anchor, proving to the algorithm that a real person in Austin was overseeing the operation. Beyond the technical algorithms, we have to address the shifting legal landscape in the United States. As of March 2026, several states have begun implementing the AI Transparency and Consumer Protection Act. This legislation requires that any business using generative AI for more than 50% of its public-facing communication must include a clear disclosure. Failure to comply can result in significant fines and a permanent flag on your business profile. This is why the compliance features in tools like Sprout Social and Later have become non-negotiable. Step by step, you must configure your transparency meta tags. Within the Sprout Social 2026 dashboard, there is a dedicated compliance tab. Here you must toggle on the automated disclosure sequence. This ensures that any post generated or significantly altered by AI includes the mandatory SynthID watermark in its metadata. This watermark is invisible to the human eye, but is read by the platform's API to ensure you are in compliance with federal guidelines. Historical trends in 2026 suggest that businesses that are transparent about their AI use actually see a higher level of trust from the US public than those that try to hide it. The modern American consumer doesn't mind that you use AI to be efficient. They mind if you use AI to be deceptive. Imagine if you could turn this legal requirement into a marketing advantage. This is what Amanda, a sustainable fashion designer in New York City, did. Instead of hiding her use of AI, she used the Buffer Transparency dashboard to show her audience how she was using technology to reduce waste in her supply chain. She created a content pillar called The Human and the Machine, where she showed the collaboration between her creative vision and her AI's data processing. This approach didn't just satisfy the 2026 legal requirements, it built a unique brand narrative that resonated with her tech-savvy NYC audience. We also need to look at the 2026 Federal Trade Commission guidelines regarding social commerce. If you are using Later's real-time inventory mapping to sell products directly through social media, you are now subject to the updated digital storefront disclosure rules. These rules require that your social media management tool must provide a clear, one-click path to your refund and privacy policies within the social app interface. To set this up, you must go into your Later Commerce settings and link your legal documents to your shoppable tags. If a customer in Chicago clicks on a product tag in one of your videos, They must be able to see your business's legal physical address and contact information immediately. This level of transparency is designed to protect consumers from the surge of ghost storefronts that plagued the internet in 2025. Case studies from early 2026 indicate that businesses that fail to integrate these legal disclosures into their social media workflow see a 40% higher rate of payment processor freezes. The financial systems that power social commerce are now directly linked to your social media compliance scores. If your management tool isn't sending the correct legal metadata along with your sales posts, your merchant account could be flagged for high-risk activity, leading to your revenue being held in escrow for up to 90 days. This is a catastrophic outcome for a small business with tight cash flow. The depth of your 2026 strategy must include a weekly audit of autonomous actions. Once a week, you should use the Sprout Social Audit Log to review every decision your AI agents made. Did they respond to a sensitive political comment? Did they use an image that could be culturally insensitive in a specific US region? This audit isn't just about catching mistakes. It's about refining the machine's understanding of your brand's ethical boundaries. Step by step, you take the outliers from this log and use them to update your Hootsuite knowledge graph, creating a more sophisticated and compliant digital employee over time. As we look toward the final stages of this masterclass, we have covered the tools, the technical synchronization, and the legal guardrails. But there is one final piece of the puzzle that separates the million-dollar small businesses from the ones that are just getting by. It is the concept of total audience sovereignty. In 2026, relying on platforms you don't own is the biggest risk you can take. While these 5 tools are essential for growth, they are also your greatest vulnerability if you don't know how to use them to build an independent ecosystem. In the next part, we are going to reveal the specific 2026 data harvesting strategies that allow you to take your followers off the social platforms and into your own private database without losing engagement. We are going to look at the future of the social to CRM pipeline and why your email list is becoming the most valuable asset in your social media toolkit once again. We will dive into the exact technical setup for what we call the lead magnet loop and how to automate it across all 5 platforms simultaneously. The concept of audience sovereignty in 2026 is built on the hard-learned lesson that 1 million followers on a third-party platform are essentially a liability if you cannot contact them during an outage or an algorithm shift. We have seen historical trends over the last 24 months where major platforms shifted their monetization models overnight, effectively charging small businesses a reach tax to speak to the followers they had already spent years acquiring. This is why the social to CRM pipeline has become the most critical infrastructure for any US-based brand. You are no longer just posting for likes. You are using these 5 tools to harvest zero-party data, information that your customers intentionally and proactively share with you. Consider the case of Carlos, who operates a high-intensity interval training gym with 3 locations in the Miami area. In 2025, Carlos relied entirely on Instagram and TikTok to fill his classes. When the 2026 algorithm update deprioritized local service businesses in favor of global entertainment content, Carlos saw his gym attendance drop by 30% in a single month. He had no way to reach his 200,000 followers because he didn't own their contact information. This is where the integration of Sprout Social and advanced CRM systems like HubSpot or Salesforce becomes a survival requirement. Step by step, the first move in the lead magnet loop is the technical handshake between Sprout Social's 2026 listening nodes and your CRM. You must go into the Sprout integration settings and enable the social profile identity sync. This allows the software to match a social media handle with the real email address in your database. When a potential lead in Miami comments on one of Carlos's workout videos, Sprout doesn't just see a comment. It checks the CRM to see if that person is already a lead. If they aren't, the Hootsuite Social Agent, our 5th tool, is triggered to initiate what we call a value-first DM sequence. This is not a spammy sales pitch. In 2026, that is the quickest way to get banned. Instead, the agent uses the knowledge graph to offer something of immediate utility. For Carlos, it might be a personalized 7-day nutrition guide tailored to the specific workout the user commented on. To receive the guide, the user clicks a secure, one-time link that captures their email and SMS preferences using a 2026 privacy-safe data bridge. Potential outcomes of this strategy include a conversion rate of nearly 15% from a single social media comment to a verified email lead. Carlos was able to build an email list of 50,000 local residents in 6 months, ensuring that he could fill his classes regardless of what the social platforms decided to do with his reach. The second stage of the loop involves Metrical's 2026 Attribution Pixel. Many businesses struggle because they don't know which specific content is actually driving their email signups. You must install the Metrical Social to Sale Pixel on your lead capture pages. This allows you to track the exact journey of a user. You can see that Sarah from Chicago saw your YouTube short, then clicked a link in your Instagram bio 3 days later, and finally signed up for your newsletter after seeing a buffer-scheduled thread on a decentralized community hub. This level of granular detail allows you to stop wasting time on platforms that provide high views but zero sovereignty. Historical trends indicate that U.S. consumers are increasingly wary of traditional lead magnets like generic ebooks. In 2026, the successful lead magnet is interactive and data-driven. This is where Later's 2026 interactive video tags come into play. Imagine if you could put a quiz directly inside a video. For a sustainable home goods brand in Maine, we used Later to create a video carousel where users could click on different room styles to see which eco-friendly products fit their home. At the end of the video, the user is offered a custom sustainability report based on their choices, delivered to their inbox. This is the pinnacle of zero-party data collection. The business gets the email address, but they also get the customer's preferences, their home style, and their specific pain points, all before the first sale is even made. To set this up, you navigate to the Later Commerce Hub and select the Interactive Overlay tool. You then map each click point in your video to a specific data tag in your CRM. When the user interacts with the video, that data is pushed in real time to your email marketing software. This allows you to send a follow-up email that is so personalized it feels like it was written by a human who spent hours researching the customer. In 2026, this is how small businesses beat national chains. They use the tools to provide a level of intimacy that a billion-dollar corporation cannot replicate at scale. Now, imagine the power of Buffer's 2026 Community Bridge in this ecosystem. While Sprout and Later are handling the data and the commerce, Buffer is maintaining the trust. You must use Buffer to schedule what we call transition content. This is content that explicitly bridges the gap between the social platform and your private community. For example, you might post a teaser of a deep dive training session that is only available to your email subscribers. By using Buffer to push these teasers across every platform, from the legacy giants to the newest decentralized nodes, you are constantly funneling your most engaged followers toward your owned assets. A critical step-by-step detail here is the use of the 2026 dynamic link architecture. You should never use a static link in your bio. Instead, use a tool integrated with your management suite that changes the destination based on the user's history with your brand. If a user is already on your email list, the link should lead them to a loyalty rewards page or a new product launch. If they are a new visitor, it should lead them to your primary lead magnet. This ensures that every click is optimized for the highest possible utility. Case studies from the U.S. service sector show that businesses utilizing this 5-tool lead magnet loop have a 30% higher enterprise value. Why? Because an investor or a bank looking at a small business in 2026 isn't just looking at your equipment or your current sales. They are looking at the size and engagement of your own database. A business with a direct line to its customers is inherently more stable and less risky than one that is entirely dependent on social media algorithms. The historical trends of 2026 also show a massive shift in how we handle data privacy. You must ensure that your social to CRM pipeline is fully compliant with the latest U.S. data sovereignty laws. This means your tools must be set to provide an instant data deletion option for any customer. Sprout Social's 2026 compliance engine handles this automatically, ensuring that if someone unsubscribes from your email list, their social media data is also scrubbed from your CRM, according to their preferences. This isn't just a legal requirement. It is a major trust signal for the 2026 American consumer. We have now built the engine, synchronized the parts, and secured the fuel by owning our audience data. You have the technical blueprint to outmaneuver competitors who are still playing by 2024 rules. But there is one final ultimate hurdle. All the data and all the tools in the world won't save you if you can't execute the 2026 daily workflow. The sheer volume of tasks we've discussed, auditing AI agents, syncing inventory, tracking attribution, and managing community bridges, can feel overwhelming. Many entrepreneurs fail here simply because they don't have a structured system to manage the management tools. In the final part of this masterclass, we are going to pull back the curtain on the ultimate 2026 daily social master schedule. We are going to give you the exact 15-minute morning routine that allows you to oversee this entire multi-tool ecosystem without losing your day to a screen. we are going to reveal the one critical metric that you need to check every single morning to know if your business is growing or dying, and we will provide the final checklist that ensures you are getting the maximum ROI from every dollar you spend on these 5 platforms. This is the moment where everything we've talked about becomes a repeatable, scalable reality for your business. Prepare for the final integration. The first phase of this final integration is what we call the 0-hour audit. To master the year 2026, you must stop being a worker in your business and start being the architect of your digital ecosystem. Imagine Emily, who runs a high-end, custom home decor shop in Nashville, Tennessee. In 2024, Emily was overwhelmed, but in 2026, she uses a strict 15-minute morning routine to oversee her entire technical stack. This is the exact step-by-step process you must follow to ensure your 5 tools are working in harmony. At exactly 8 a.m., Emily begins her 5-minute agent review. She opens her Hootsuite Social Agent OS dashboard. Because she has set her agent to a 70-30 autonomy ratio, she isn't looking at every post, but she is looking at the exception log. This is a 2026 specific feature where the AI flags any interaction that fell outside of its standard brand voice parameters. For example, if a customer in Nashville asked a highly technical question about the fire retardant properties of a specific reclaimed wood table, the agent might have flagged it for human intervention. Emily spends 3 minutes reviewing these high-stakes drafts, adding her personal touch and hitting approve. This ensures that the most critical touchpoints in her business remain human-led, while the machine handles the thousands of routine inquiries. From 8:05 to 8:10 a.m., Emily shifts to the Sprout Social Smart inbox. This is where she handles the high-intent conversion leads that were categorized by the NLP engine we discussed earlier. These are not just comments. These are potential thousands of dollars in revenue. By focusing only on the messages flagged as high conversion intent, Emily is able to close sales in 5 minutes that used to take her all day to find in a cluttered inbox. Historical trends in the U.S. small business sector for 2026 indicate that responding to a high-intent lead within the first hour of their inquiry increases the conversion potential by over 60%. The final 5 minutes from 8:10 to 8:15 a.m. are dedicated to the metrical viral pulse. Emily isn't looking at her total followers. She is looking for anomalies. If a specific video she posted about her sustainable sourcing in the Appalachian Mountains is seeing a sudden spike in the Pacific Northwest, she needs to know now. Metrical's 2026 predictive engine tells her if this spike is likely to lead to a viral breakout. If the indicator is green, Emily immediately uses the buffer community bridge to cross-post a follow-up thread to her decentralized niche communities, striking while the iron is hot. This 15-minute routine is the only way to manage the complexity of 5 different platforms without succumbing to burnout. But to know if this routine is actually working, you must track the one critical metric of 2026, the net growth velocity. In the past, we looked at follower counts as a vanity metric. In 2026, that is a dangerous mistake. Your net growth velocity is calculated by taking your new followers across all platforms, adding your new verified email subscribers, and subtracting your unfollows and unsubscribes. This number tells you the true health of your brand's authority. If your followers are going up but your email list is stagnant, you are building your house on rented land. If your email list is growing but your social engagement is down, your top-of-funnel discovery is broken. Step by step, you should record this number every Monday morning in a simple spreadsheet. Case studies from 2026 show that businesses that maintain a positive net growth velocity of at least 2% week over week are 10 times more likely to survive a major algorithm shift. Now, let's look at the technical synthesis of later and buffer. This is where most U.S. small businesses fail to close the loop. You must set up a 2026 data trigger. When a product sells out in your later real-time inventory mapping system, it should trigger an automated post and buffer. For Emily in Nashville, when her signature hand-poured candles sell out, later sends a signal to buffer to post a thank you message to her community hubs, along with a link to join the pre-order list for the next batch. This creates a seamless flow between commerce and community. You set this up using a standard webhook integration between the 2 platforms. By automating this, Emily never has to manually tell her followers that a product is out of stock. The tools handle the communication, preserving her brand's reputation for transparency. We also have to discuss the 2026 budgetary pivot. Historical trends show that the most successful U.S. small businesses in the current year have shifted 40% of their traditional ad budget into what we call organic acceleration. Instead of running cold ads to people who have never heard of them, they use Sprout Social's attribution heat map to find their best performing organic content, and use paid spend to push that specific content to lookalike audiences. This is the difference between shouting at strangers and invited guests. Step by step, you should review your Sprout analytics every 30 days. Identify the top 3 posts that had the highest save rate, not like rate but save rate. In 2026, a save is a much stronger signal of intent. Put $50 behind each of those 3 posts, targeting the specific geographic regions that Metrical identified as high-growth areas. Potential outcomes for this strategy include a 3 times higher ROI compared to traditional Facebook or Instagram ad campaigns. As we reach the conclusion of this masterclass, we must address the final 2026 checklist for your business. This is your operational manual for the rest of the year. First, ensure your Hootsuite knowledge graph is updated monthly with your latest business data and local US market trends. Second, verify that your later inventory sync is heartbeat checked once a week to prevent overselling. Third, perform a human-in-the-loop audit of your AI responses every Friday afternoon to prevent algorithmic decay. Fourth, use your Buffer Community Bridge to move at least 100 followers into your own email database every single week. Fifth, and most importantly, stay compliant with the latest US AI transparency laws by ensuring your metadata watermarks are active on every platform. Imagine if you had started this process 6 months ago. By now, you would have a self-sustaining engine that generates leads, manages inventory, and builds community while you sleep. The American entrepreneurs who are dominating 2026 are not the ones working the hardest. They are the ones with the most integrated technical stacks. They have moved past the era of social media as a hobby and into the era of social media as a high-precision industrial tool. You now have the complete roadmap. You have the top 5 tools: Sprout Social, Metrical, Buffer, Later, and Hootsuite, and you have the specific 2026 strategies to make them work together. But there is still one massive variable that we haven't touched on. Even with perfect tools and a perfect schedule, your content still needs to cut through the noise of a billion other AI agents. There is a new form of storytelling emerging in late 2026 called hyperniche narrative loops. It is a way of creating content that feels so personal to a specific viewer that they feel it was made just for them, and it is the only thing currently beating the human signature detectors we discussed earlier. In our next deep dive series, we are going to break down the exact scripts, camera angles, and AI-assisted editing techniques that are powering these narrative loops. We are going to look at why the big-budget production style is officially dead and how a single person with a smartphone and the right psychological framework can outperform a 10-person creative agency. If you thought this masterclass was intense, you are not ready for the level of psychological optimization we are about to reveal in the world of 2026 content creation. The tools are the engine, but the narrative is the fuel. It is time to learn how to ignite it.